On today's episode of the DeRaud-Messinger Show, we're talking Rice versus Texas. Longhorns fans, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. It's greatly appreciated. So to begin doing, of course, this is part of HornSports' Longhorns coverage. We got the best covering in the nation, the best covering in the business, because you got us, and we got them, and we got each other. See, that is the speech that Coach Sark is needing, but let's just get
So
into it.
pumped up right now.
Oh yeah, we got some game info for everybody. The game will be on Saturday, September 2nd at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. Please show up at the right time at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. Televised on Fox. And Dylan, the Longhorns are favored by 35.5 points. Now, why am I so excited, Dylan? Because football is back. Longhorns football is back. You guys are back. Everybody's back. But I guess in terms of a transition, we will see if Texas is back this season. Now, Dylan, how are you feeling about Rice and the scouting report?
Yeah, Devon, I think the biggest thing now, though, is these weather reports. We're going to need what's the heat index looking like on the field on Saturday, because that's going to be
That
a,
might be the
a
biggest
smoke
enemy.
show. Yeah, literally. Who will die of dehydration first? But yeah, with Rice, Devon, I mean, the big thing of note, and it's, within it comes to the name of it, is JT Daniels, right? He's had a interesting career. He's now a sixth-year player, Devin. I don't think a lot of people would have imagined he'd be around this late. I'm sure he had aspirations to be in the NFL by now, but bouncing from USC, Georgia, West Virginia last year, and now he's at Rice, which might shock a few people. But that's why we're here telling you what's new. He had 253 yards passing and a touchdown against Texas last year, Devin, which ultimately West Virginia lost that game. On offense, besides him, you've got Luke McCaffrey, younger brother of Christian McCaffrey at wide receiver,
Our boy.
standing at 6'2". Yeah, he started off at Nebraska and then went to another school. I think it was like Cincinnati for several months and then ended up at Rice. And he had 723 yards receiving and six touchdowns last year. And then they had wide receiver Bradley Rosner, who's exercising his like third COVID year, but now he transferred to NC State. So there's not a lot of offensive firepower that a lot of people that would be used to. But this is a Rice team that's been getting better off of last year. They went 5-7, still made a bowl game. Uh, Dropped to 5-8 after that though. But fifth-year head coach Mike Bloomgren, Devin, he's been doing a good job, and they're now joining the American Athletic Conference. So this is a team with, they're building something. Now I don't know if that building what they have so far is going to be enough in this game, but it could possibly get interesting. But when you look at the other side, after naming those guys on offense, defense not so hot. They allowed 34 points per game last year, 92nd and third down conversion rate at 41.2. So those are things that kind of rank towards the bottom end of college football. And their front seven is ultimately kind of where the talent would be in this case, because Ewers is going to be able to light them up in that secondary. But they've got they got three linebackers that are pretty solid, with a lot of veteran experience. So that's where a lot of like the chances for Rice to make some plays defensively could lie upon. But they got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the start JT Daniels. It is going to be a good trivia question in a couple years, all the schools that he's played
Yeah.
for. And he has talent, which is, evident in the fact that people are still trying to acquire him, Dylan. But, of course, Rice, you're going there for the education. And, shout out to him for getting that degree here shortly. But, the fun fact that a lot of Longhorns fans probably already know by now is this will be Daniel's third time in DKR with a different team, being USC at the first, West Virginia, as Dylan mentioned, and now this will be Rice. And in his career, he's just under a shade of 7,000 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, 25 INTs. The problem for Daniels in this game, though, is that, as of late, the running back room for Rice has not looked too sexy, if I'm being honest. Redshirt senior running back Ari Broussard was the guy for Rice last year, then suffered an injury, and it kind of went into a committee role. Broussard looks to be back. However, we'll see if he's retained that spot for Rice. We're not really sure. Of course, the first game of the season, and coaches don't want to talk before the first game of the season, Dylan. Surprise. But
No
guys,
depth charts, right?
depth charts. I mean, who's starting for Longhorns? We don't know. But guys competing with him Are you got Ottaviano, who has a brother that's pretty famous in terms of the recruiting world, having committed to LSU last season. And then Dean Connors, also at running back, showed some flashes, but yet again, it's been a mixed bag for Rice as of late. And Dylan, I love Bloomgren, dating back to his Stanford days, but I do want to refute that point. It hasn't looked too great for Rice during his tenure, but yet again, it is a tough place to recruit people. Although yet again, we need some brainiacs just going to Rice and playing
Yeah.
some bully ball. But redshirt junior wide receiver Luke McCaffrey is definitely the top receiving threat for the Owls this season. Last year, he had 58 receptions and 723 receiving yards, plus 6 touchdowns. And then I think the probably most quality area of this team, which yet again, I'm not trying to sound disrespectful, but hasn't been the greatest for them too, and they're probably looking to improve. But with that being said, this is an experienced group, is that linebacker group that Dylan was mentioning. You got redshirt junior Chris Conti. Then you also have redshirt linebacker Myron Morrison, and then redshirt junior. Hear all these red shirts? That means something. They've been there for a little bit. You got the redshirt junior linebacker Josh Piercy. So you got Morrison, Piercy, and Conti. Those are the guys to look out for Rice in that middle of the Owls defense. What can they do though, Dylan? We'll be seeing here shortly. But on the Rice side of things, of course, Texas is going to be rolling out some new running backs. So maybe they can take advantage of some inexperience on the Texas side of offense versus their defensive, front and front seven. But yet again, not looking too great for Rice in that scouting report, Dylan. Do you have anything else to add, or should we move on to X factors?
I mean, you're talking about that running game, Devon, but they got no chance of winning this. They're going to try to win on the ground here. It's going to have to be all JT Daniels, getting it to McCaffrey as much as possible. They're going to have some quick strikes. It's just this Texas defense is getting better off of last year, just with experience and some occasional transfers. So again, this is not going to be easy for them. They're going to have to take control of some careless mistakes by Texas, and then capitalize on their own kind of, again, big strikes, big plays down the field, if that's even possible for them. And when I'm saying that, it's like it's pretty much all going to come from the air attack.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely, for a Rice fan, it might not be too pretty, but yet again, for Texas, this is more of a tune-up game, and we don't mean to sound disrespectful. Of course, you never know, Dylan. If you're a Sark, you hope you don't enter this, part of the conversation, but you never know. JT Daniels is an experienced quarterback. He is trying to improve Rice's spirits with that experience, and he's been at big-time programs. Whether they can get the ball moving on offense is to be determined, and the defense hasn't looked, too outstanding or spectacular either. But yet again, they do have some experience in that group, so at least that bodes well for them. But of course, an opening season game at DKR against the 11th ranked Texas Longhorns is not the greatest way to be starting a season if you're the Rice Owls, unfortunately. But I'm sure there's a little bit of a pay raise included in this game just for coming to Austin. So you got that for you. Now, Dylan, of course, we got to name some X factors. Who are you feeling is someone to watch out, or a group?
Yeah, I was going with more of a mindset, Devin. X factors for Texas is simply the psychology of the team, right? Will they get in their own way? That's ultimately what could stop them here. This is a game that you're getting game time experience, right? So you're gonna be able to kind of do more stuff than you could have during the off season. But they got Alabama next week, Devin. They got to go into Tuscaloosa. That could be in very well in the front of everyone's mind, right? Including Sark's, which I know he'll talk about how it's not. But this is definitely a game that they got to take seriously, in the sense of now's the time to kind of get that practice and get into game shape, in essence, before you then go to Alabama and have that big kahuna to play. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, but I am interested in seeing kind of the running back group and where it's going to go. We don't know the starting running back yet, right? We got Jonathan Brooks, CJ Baxter, Jadon Blue was somebody that we had mentioned earlier when we were kind of talking about this stuff, expectations wise. So that's kind of the group for Texas that I'm looking at, because that would be the one group that I'm like, I want to see them get experience going into the Alabama game, especially against this, especially with this offensive line of Texas that is going to be looking a lot better than they were last year with some of the returning players that I'm looking forward to see. So that running game, I'm really looking forward to. And then on the Rice side, it's going to be that defense. It's going to be the linebackers that you mentioned, Conti, Morrison, Piercy. Like these guys got to make takeaways, got to take the ball. They got to force some fumbles, right? Is where they're going to come into play and not miss any tackles because the moment they miss one opportunity, that's when just the landslide happens, and Texas is going to be able just to pour it on for the rest of the game. And they're just going to have to create pressure. It's gonna be tough against this offensive line again. Like this is all like if they can put these things together with kind of their rush packages and blitzes, and then again force some turnovers and not come away with just field goals. So it's got a long road ahead of them for Rice, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
looking at that linebacker core for them.
My main X factor for either side in this game is that Texas Longhorns pass rush, because Rice, as we were talking about, is going to have to prove that they're going to be able to run the football, because they haven't been able to show that last season. If Daniels is already in his head early on with guys like Ethan Burke, or you got Baron Sorrell off the edge on both sides, most likely yet again. Sark, where's those depth charts that we would like to have? But most likely Ethan Burke is the starter opposite Sorrell. But if those guys are in Daniels' head, it's going to make life a tough time for the Rice Owls, and will really, just shore up the defense, holistically during this game if they can force some Daniels pressure. But yet again, Dylan, you got to show it. As you said, you got to have the attitude. You're going to have to stomp on some
Yeah,
throats. It can't be,
yeah.
a two-score game going into halftime. You're like, oh, we got them. Like, no, you got to go out there with the purpose of obliterating any opponent that you're facing.
You
If you're
you need to be you need to be Georgia kind of celebrating at halftime against TCU in the national championship game. Like you need to be pouring it on in the first half and not just wait until the second half to kind of put things together.
Exactly, and if you watch any highlight that the Longhorn Network is gonna shove down your throat, Dylan, of a national championship year, and it's a random game, Texas versus Kansas, and it's 60-3. You need stuff like that to at least bode well confidence wise, like you're saying, for the next week. But Dylan, like a coach, we're focused on Rice here. So what are you doing over there? Next, Dylan, danger lever. Danger lever. What is going
Danger
on?
lever. I don't got that
Danger
next to me,
lever.
but
Danger
do I need to
level.
pull
How
it?
are you feeling? There might be a lever for Rice after this game, but
Yeah, not I'm not feeling bad enough to pull a lever here, but the danger level I've got sitting at a 0. This is something that like based off of the game, the danger could increase into the Alabama game, right? So like if it makes Rice feel any better, it's like kind of like, oh yeah, we could impact the next danger level, but I don't see I don't see kind of the story behind Rice winning this game. So I'm gonna have to kind of give it a 0. It could force Texas to squeak it out, but I don't see the reality in which Texas doesn't come away with a win here.
no, that's pretty fair, I'd say. I did go with the one for respect, because
Mm,
they still have to, line up on the football field and get the
that's
final
fair. That's
scoreboard.
fair. You got to show up.
Got
Yeah.
to show up. But, Rice has not won since 1994 against Texas. Of course, the matchups haven't been as frequent as they used to. However, they still have played a good share of games in between that time. In last season, like Dylan said, they finished 5-8. So those are two things that don't bode well yet again for Rice. That's the common theme here. However, on the other side of things, Dylan, Texas does have to run out some new players, such as that running back room. They have some things to figure out, but yet again, am I confident enough to go above a 1 in the danger level? No, I'm just going to stick to 1. This is the week where Texas should look good. There's going to be 5 different guys, theoretically, that are like, oh, this is the Heisman winner at the end of the year. Like, that's got to be this type of game if you're Sark. Otherwise, heading into Alabama, we will definitely be not in the brightest of spirits for long-term chances here. But that's my danger level as well. Now, Dylan, how are you feeling about this Longhorns team? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I've got them winning 49-7 here, Devin. I mean, this is the game when you take that jar of Kool-Aid and you dump it into a gallon and you start just chugging the gallon afterwards. Because this is the game where it's like, damn, we put up 50 points on them. Now we're going to Alabama. We took care of business. Like this is our time. Like we're looking good going into this game. We've got a shot. That's kind of how I view this game for Texas, and it's definitely something for them to build off. And it's going to be an exciting game to watch because you're going to kind of see the household names get their mentions, blow up their box score a bit, and then you'll see kind of guys that we haven't really talked about yet or had question marks going into the season really start to shine throughout the game.
Yeah, I went even a little more of a score raise
Oof.
with you. I got Texas winning 55-3. Now,
Oof.
I don't think Rice scores the football more than twice, whether that's field
Hmm.
goals or touchdowns, to be determined. But I do have them just making one field goal. And I put down, is this going to be the Quinn Ewers stat padding game that Longhorns fans would like to see? I know a lot of people have been talking about, oh, Arch Manning's on campus, oh, Malik Murphy. Like, this is Quinn Ewers' chance, of course, yet again. Sorry, Rice. It's against Rice. But this is your chance to, open the season saying, hey guys, I'm still here. I put up, blank amount of numbers. But also, instead of just throwing the football, this is also a game for Texas to, plant the seed in that running game, see how they can do before the Alabama matchup, because you don't want to, just bring in all of the young, inexperienced backs against Bama and just start them fresh. Of course, there's going to be an ample amount of running the football, but expect things to be pretty vanilla in terms of scheme in both the passing game and the rushing game. They're not going to want to reveal any of their state secrets. No shock there before Alabama, because I'm sure Nick Saban, he's got the TV clicker and he's got the rewind button, guys. He's able to see all the things that we see on
I
loop.
got an undercover agent at the game as well.
I'm
Who
sure
knows?
there's at least three of them doing. But yeah, Saban, he's probably somehow finding a way to be in Austin this weekend.
He's got
But
a little drone above. Yeah.
he's got drones, airplanes, missiles, all the.
Satellites. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's got the U.S. military defense budget at his disposal, knowing all his connections. But
Yep.
yet again, this is a game for everyone to prove their worth, especially the Sark. Some people are still, battling for position, literally. Running back, as Dylan mentioned, has Baxter and Brooks and etc. Cornerback, the third or fourth cornerback position is still a battle that's being fought. And then linebacker, will Anthony Hill Jr. be the guy that starts? Or will it be, Gabenda out there? That's to be determined. But Dylan, yet again, exciting time to be a Longhorns fan, exciting time to be a football fan with the return of Texas football this Saturday. But more importantly, what is your score prediction for this game? Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Are you expecting a bigger blowout or lesser? Let us know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us on HornSports, for all of our Longhorns coverage. And of course, have a great rest of your day.